This is Jill Pack with the Seasons of Joy podcast. This is episode number 100, entitled Let's Celebrate. Are you a woman of faith who is struggling to navigate your current season of life? Do you feel like life is just happening to you instead of for you? My name is Jill Pack, and I'm a certified faith-based life coach and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I want you to know that no matter your season or your circumstance, it is possible to create a more joyful life, and I would love to show you how. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the podcast. This is a big day here at Seasons Coaching. I am celebrating the release of my 100th podcast episode. I'm going to speak more about that in a few minutes, but first, I wanted to remind you about my upcoming workshop, Navigating Midlife with Grace, Strengthening Connection with Self, Others, and God. I'm beyond excited to share this with you, and the purpose of this workshop is to help empower women of faith in the mid-season of life as they work on deepening their relationships with themselves, others, and God. And I want to provide them with practical tools and strategies to do just that. This is an opportunity to gather with other women of faith in a safe and supportive space to share experiences and connect with one another. This is an in-person workshop, and it will be held on March 23rd from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Cache Valley, Utah, just about 10 miles outside of Logan, Utah. If you feel unsure about what your purpose is in this season of life, or you don't even know what you like anymore, or you don't know how to interact with the people in your life, or to connect with your spouse, now that you are empty nesters, or maybe you're struggling to connect with God when you're feeling so lost. If this sounds like you, I don't want you to miss this amazing opportunity. You will get a full day of comprehensive hands-on workshopping. We're going to take a deep dive into ways to help you strengthen your connection in your relationships. We will be focusing on relationships that you have with yourself, with others, and God, and we're going to be incorporating mindfulness and restorative practices throughout the workshop to provide you opportunities to be still and reflect on what you're learning. There's going to be multiple opportunities to be coached or watched other people get coached, and this is a great way to see the concepts applied to real circumstances. You can learn more about my Navigating Midlife with Grace workshop by visiting my website, www.seasons-coaching.com/workshops. Registration is open and will be closing on March 15th. So, today is the day. When I began this podcast journey almost 2 years ago, I wasn't sure where this would even go. And now I'm here recording my 100th episode. It has been an amazing experience for me. I've grown in so many ways, and I honestly believe that if no one listened, and maybe you don't, it wouldn't matter because of how I have expanded as a person. It has allowed me to find the voice within myself. I've been able to practice articulating my beliefs, my faith, and the things of my heart. So today, in honor of celebrating, I am giving away some fun things. I'm giving away 3 things. First, I'm giving away 1 free ticket to my live in-person Navigating Midlife with Grace workshop that you can use for yourself or give away to a friend. I'm giving $100 in an Amazon gift card, and I'm giving away 3 mini sessions, 30 minutes each. All of this is valued at over $300. And this is how you can enter to win. Number 1, rate and review the Seasons of Joy podcast on whatever platform you listen to. And then number 2, I want you to take a screenshot of your review and share it to your stories and tag at seasons_coaching so that I can see it. And the winner is going to be announced this Friday, March 1st. You can find all of this in the show notes, so be sure to enter my giveaway and celebrate with me. Now on to this week's podcast episode. So this week, I wanted to talk about the importance of celebrating. Isn't it interesting how often we shy away from talking about our successes, our accomplishments, our gifts, our talents? It's like we're afraid of jinxing ourselves or coming off as too boastful. So we hide and we don't share. Yet these small victories are what propel us in our daily lives. Sharing our wins can actually enhance our self-confidence and inspire others to do the same. So why is it so hard for us to celebrate? I want to share with you 6 reasons why I think it might be hard for you to celebrate. And I want to share 4 reasons why we should celebrate more. So first, the reasons why it's hard to celebrate. Number 1, negative bias. I believe that one reason we do this is because our brains have the tendency to lean towards the negative. This negative bias has been part of our human survival since the beginning of time. It kept our ancestors safe. However, this bias lingers within us still today. When we focus on the negative and we discount the positive, this can leave us feeling anxious, stressed, or depressed. So this tendency to have this negative outlook or being aware of the negative can block us or prevent us from celebrating. Number 2, the imposter syndrome. We've all heard about this, right? It includes having self-doubt, comparing ourselves with others, believing we need to be perfect, and believing that we might be exposed as a fraud if we aren't perfect, right? Any of those things prevent us or discourage us from wanting to celebrate a win or an accomplishment of some kind. Number 3, no room. We live in a fast-paced world. We can feel the pressure when we are focused on our to-do list, the ideas, the projects, and new and improved ways of doing things, right? This can leave little to no room for pausing, appreciating, or celebrating because we're so busy on accomplishing and doing instead of reflecting and celebrating. Number 4, worry. We can spend time thinking about what could have been or should have been, right? What we should have done or what we could have said. These kinds of thoughts can distract us and can leave us feeling depleted and discouraged. And again, it prevents us from wanting to celebrate because we are believing that it should have been done differently. And it's hard to see what was done good or what we could celebrate, right? So number 5, minimization. For many of us, we don't like being in the spotlight. We compare ourselves to others and we discount what we've done and we shrug things off as no big deal because it doesn't seem as important. And I also think that sometimes in our culture, we can view sharing these things as boastful and egotistical or prideful, right? And so we minimize it because we don't want to appear that way. Number 6, expectations. We can discount what we accomplish if it doesn't meet our expectations. If we fall short from an expectation that we have or a desired outcome that we would like, we have this tendency to focus on the gap between where we are and where we want to go. This limits and prevents us from seeing how we can celebrate. But I want to talk about why we should celebrate. Because if we lean into our negative bias, we focus on our imposter syndrome, or we don't create room, or we worry about should've, could've, would've, or we minimize what is great about us and what we can do, or if we think that we have to achieve our expected result in order to celebrate, then we're never going to celebrate. But here's the reasons why we should. Number one, it's science. There is science behind celebrating. When we celebrate, no matter how big or small the thing is we are celebrating, our brain releases the feel-good chemicals, serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine. These neurotransmitters make us feel safe and rewarded, which can help reinforce certain behaviors or habits. Our cortisol levels go down, which is the stress hormone in our bodies, and this helps us to regulate our nervous system so that we can move from fight or flight mode into a more relaxed and calm state. Number two, it boosts motivation. By acknowledging and celebrating even the smallest of wins, we can boost our motivation. Sometimes we think we need to just wait for motivation to happen, right? We tell ourselves, I just wish I was more motivated. Well, by acknowledging and celebrating our small wins, we are building our own motivation. It validates our efforts. It instills a sense of accomplishment, and it keeps us inspired to progress towards our goals. This positive reinforcement helps us to stay driven and focused, making it easier to tackle our more significant challenges. Number three, it boosts confidence. Celebrating small wins helps us to build self-confidence and create greater self-esteem. Each small win acts as a stepping stone towards our larger dreams and goals, demonstrating progress. Recognizing and honoring these accomplishments can help bolster belief in our abilities, nurturing a positive mindset, which is crucial for sustained success. And finally, number four, it fosters a positive mindset. The act of celebrating small wins nurtures a positive mindset. It shifts our focus from where we are now and where we want to be to how far we have come. This is what Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy call the gap and the gain. This mindset shift encourages gratitude, resilience, and a sense of fulfillment, all essential for our overall well-being. By celebrating small wins along the journey, we create a more positive and gratifying path towards where we want to go. The more we look for wins, the more we will find. Now that I've talked about what holds us back from celebrating and why we should celebrate more, I wanted to talk about one small habit that you can add to your day to help you invite more celebration into your life. It is called the high five habit. This is something that author Mel Robbins teaches in her book, The High Five Habit. This is something that I share with all of my clients. In Robbins' book, she talks about the science behind the high five, but basically, the act of high-fiving is a powerful tool that increases our confidence and builds trust. Think about the last time you high-fived someone. How did it feel? Throughout our lives, when we high-five someone, we are celebrating something, and our brain remembers this and releases the feel-good endorphins that I spoke about earlier. We also are thinking about positive things, which creates positive emotions. Also in Robbins' book, she shares this study that explored the best way to motivate school kids. When kids received a high five, they felt higher levels of self-esteem and they showed greater perseverance. Robbins believes that this is because when we high five someone, we are celebrating the person, not what they are accomplishing, their ability, or even their effort. So her argument is that when we high five ourselves, we are communicating confidence and trust in ourselves. I believe that from that place, we show up in the world as an influence for good, and we are more likely to celebrate others. Basically, it works like this. The first thing in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say something kind or encouraging to yourself while you high five yourself, holding it for a few seconds while looking yourself in the eye. When I first began this practice of the high five habit for myself, it was difficult for me to look in the mirror at myself without being critical or negative. It was so easy for me to find and focus on what I believed were my flaws and my faults and my shortcomings. But as time has gone by, it has become easier and easier and actually very healing in a way for me to do this practice now. I want to be clear here. This practice isn't about lifting ourselves up to a level that we view ourselves as better than anyone else or believing that we are perfect. It's about elevating ourselves to the same level as everyone else because no one else, no human, is better than another. I believe that more often than not, we place ourselves below others. We speak to ourselves in a way that we would never dream of speaking to anyone else. It's about seeing ourselves as who we really are, as a divine child of God that is just as valuable and worthy as anyone else. Our value and our worth is not hierarchical, or we don't earn it. It is just there. It just is. I have spoken about this so many times before, I know it, but I probably won't stop talking about it because I believe that this is one of the most important things that we need to understand about ourselves and our fellow human beings, our fellow travelers on this earth. For me, speaking to myself isn't about empty affirmations. The words I say have to be believable to me on some level, or I just won't stick with it. There really isn't a right or a wrong way to do this. The important part is to find something that inspires, encourages, and celebrates you. Now, I have found that when I focus on my true identity, this helps me the most. I'm going to share with you what my high five habit statement is. And again, I invite you to find something that feels right to you. Have fun with it. There really isn't a wrong way to do this. So my statement is, I am a beloved daughter of heavenly parents who love me, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This reminds me of my true identity, and that it isn't about being perfect and never making mistakes. My heavenly parents' love for me doesn't go away no matter what, and that my Savior will be with me through all of it to support and strengthen me. This is definitely worth celebrating. So that's my invitation to you today. Celebrate so that you can feel better, become more motivated, build confidence and trust in yourself, and be an influence for good in the world, and enjoy the journey. So how can you incorporate celebration in your everyday? What's one thing that you could celebrate today? What would your high five statement be? Well, that is all I have for you today. Hopefully you found something that you can celebrate today. Thank you for listening and celebrating this milestone with me. So remember, leave a rating and review for the Seasons of Joy podcast on any platform that you listen to podcasts on. And then number 2, take a screenshot of your review and share it to your stories and tag me. If you're tagging me on Instagram, it's at seasons_coaching. And on Facebook, it's seasons.life.coaching. And I can't wait to see your stories. Thank you for tuning in to the Seasons of Joy podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends and family. If you want to learn more about me or how to work with me, just visit my website, www.seasons-coaching.com, and have a joyful week.